Good day, folks. Welcome to our second session on spirituality. Once again, Carolanne Nadeau, Nora Reynolds, and myself, who prefers to be off-scene. Today we are going to talk about frauds and tricksters, negative guides, and channeling. Okay, Carolanne, is there somewhere you would like to start with this grouping?
Yes. Negative and tricksters or fake guides. Some people are surprised by that they could have this type of thing, or people or entities attached to their energies and pretending to be guidance. Very surprised, and I'm not surprised at all. I've dealt with stuff earlier on in my life, and I know even back then when I was going through it was a scary situation, a scary thing, especially when one didn't have a lot to turn to at that time. It can be scary, but this is not meant to be scary. It's more to enlighten and to educate. There are people who don't even know that they have trickster guides attached to them, because the tricksters, they're good at that, and plus on a higher soul level, you may have contracted with that being to provide you with a gift or some type of lesson, or some type of can't get the word. I'm just going to use gift to assist you in this lifetime and for the exchange. Now, sometimes the trickster guides are not like bad. They're just not really enlightened beings. They gain energy. They can. Their goal is to thwart you from moving on to ascension, to being the best you can be. And that's their goal. And their energies will be a little bit higher than yours at times. They'll raise it up a bit so that you will feel a difference with their energies, and you'll think, oh, this is the real deal. But eventually they will start, their disguise will start to melt, will start to fade, and you'll be able to, if you start to become more strong and confident in who you are, you will get to understand and know that, okay, there's something not right here.
Nora?
Yeah.
I know under Reiki there are certain things that you can do and can't do.
Mm-hmm.
Are you able, for both of you, a question for both of you actually, is are you able to remove these tricksters from the chakras?
Yes, we are. For me, it's a type of what we call, and I'm just saying what is in my Reiki manual, I call it psychic surgery, where we can remove the entities that don't belong there anymore through psychic surgery. But it's a feeling like we have to delve deep into their chakras and into their auras and actually focus on where it is. And you can usually tell because there'll be a different change in the way that your chakra spins, and it's also a different color in it. Instead of being a certain color, it could be lighter, it can be duller, and it can instead of moving clockwise, it might move anti-clockwise, depending on which chakra it is and what's going on with it. But yes, you can pick it up. And sometimes from these tricksters that are going on, there are sometimes barbs there too that we can pick up. So yeah, there are ways that we can remove it, and sometimes the removal can be done right away, but sometimes, and quite often is the case, is you might need 1 or 2 sessions or 3 sessions to remove this, and to remember to not go back into the old habits once we start working on removing the problem.
In the Akashic, I did a course on that, and in the Akashic, you're in the person's records, and I call in Archangel Michael. It all depends on exactly what I have a process that I do, and I call in Archangel Michael in the records. I call in Raphael, Gabriel, and a whole bunch of other ascended masters to join me in the Akashic records, and then we also use different types of crystals, gemstones as well. And we also call forth the Akashic energy itself to assist. And what I go in and I ask, is this person a trickster? What's this guide? Is negative, whatever. Is there a reason why? Was there a contract? Was there a bargain, a vow, or something that was put into place? And can we use you as an example? I'm trying to remember. Do you remember? The one it was a contract with you,
yes.
And it wasn't like a negative guide per se, but it was meant there because it was providing you with something. And basically called in Michael and a few others, and we basically said, you're done. I have a specific way of saying it. And then I can, and it's not me, but I request on your behalf to assign a new guide to you, a new spiritual guide, and they will step forward. And the same with angels. There's certain, they call themselves angels, but they're tricksters as well. And there's different procedures as well. And I basically work with the archangels with that, and the Lord of Akashic records. Now, if this bargain or vow or contract, I will ask, can it be done? Can it be revoked? Sometimes they will say no. There's something that you have to work through. And then once that's done, it can be released. Again, because I do different modalities as well, I bring in the energy healing as well, but usually I'm just the channel for spirit to help that person.
Okay. How can a person who's looking for services decide whether somebody is a fraud or not? I know that's a big question, but it's a very important one.
If someone is depressed, we have to have a disclaimer here. We are not
doctors.
Doctors or
psychiatrists or psychologists or anything else.
So something's very severe. First thing I would say is I would suggest they go to a counselor or their doctor. But if someone who's depressed or sad, or they feel laggy, they feel like one day they're this and one day they're that, then I would go in and do a scan and check. And if they are, you can pick up things, energies, people, things by walking around crowded places, different places, without, doing your own spiritual spa. So I would say spa thing. Make sure you cloak yourself, you protect yourself, you call in your spiritual team, you call in the divine to always make that part of your day. But they can attach yourself to you, and then you start to feel that they're a part of you. That energy's a part of you, and they'll keep hanging on like Klingons. If you have an addictive personality, if you're addicted to certain type of drugs, or if you drink a lot, you're susceptible because you've opened yourself up, and you just filter in. Even in surgery, I remember about three years ago, I was having surgery, and I was laying on the table waiting to go in, and I kept calling. I said, Archangel Raphael, please make sure I get through this. Envelop me in green, la 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 la. And I knew he was there, but because at this point I wasn't even thinking about that. But it's because your defenses are down. When you're doing any kind of spiritual work, it doesn't mean you have to go spend hours calling in every person, every spiritual being you know. You have the few ones. Make it a practice when you're doing spiritual work to make sure that you are balanced, grounded, and you know who you're calling in. You never open yourself up to spiritual stuff. It's like going online and talking to a stranger on some type of site that you have no idea who it is, and then you start giving them all your information, which they can use and do whatever they want. And it's similar on a spiritual thing, very similar.
Okay. Now, I know, Nora, with Reiki, it's a very hands-on type
Yes.
of energy transfer. I would assume fraudsters can be out there.
Yes, they can. One of the ways that you know is how you feel when they are working with you. Their energy into your energy zone will feel different. It won't feel calm. It won't feel relaxing.
It's like heavy, isn't it?
It feels very, very heavy. And it also, that you'll get twitchy and you'll just be very uncomfortable and like, let's hurry up and get this over with. This is how you know that this person might have something around them that's not very healthy and very good to you. So when you go for a treatment, ask your guardian angels and your ascended masters to help you and to know that this is the right person. And again, as I said early in our other video, phone the person and talk to them, because you'll get a lot even talking to the person on the phone. You'll find out you'll know what their energies are like just by talking to them, because there are unfortunately people out there that are tricksters that are just after your money, and they'll keep you coming back and coming back and coming back.
And ego-centered.
It's very ego-centered. And, I can do this and I can do that. My Reiki master that taught us was telling us about one time when she went down to the United States to this one Reiki conference. And she said she was there, and a couple of the ladies that were there with her practicing, we're saying to her, we're just going to throw some Reiki in there, and we're going to throw some Reiki in there, we're going to throw some Reiki in there. That's not what it's about. That's your ego taking over. And Reiki is not about ego. Let your ego go, because it's them working through you.
Yeah, you're the instrument.
You're the instrument. Like, you're the one that's guiding this, and you're saying, and it's very important to be very thankful because this is a gift. Like, I consider this a wonderful gift that's being given to me, and I'm not going to abuse it by letting my ego get in the way. And unfortunately, that is the main thing that happens with some spiritualists and with Reiki practitioners, is your ego gets in the way. A saying is edging God out, and you are edging out the most important thing, and that is the beautiful energy of spirit.
Okay.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Very nice.
It just came home.
Well explained. I'd like to change it a little bit. We're going to talk about channeling. Channeling can be done many different ways by many people, but there are people out there who claim that they can channel a specific person. Is that possible?
It can be, but if you're going out and wanting to channel a certain celebrity or certain high profile person who has passed, if you don't have a soul connection with them, then I would highly doubt you're communicating with them.
Yeah.
And to me, it's like, again, ego-centered when someone says, oh, I can channel whoever.
So I will be able to talk to Elvis tonight.
No.
Okay.
A lot of people have connections, in a sense, energy connections with him. But no. One could soul talk, like when I do soul talk within the Akashic records. For example, if I'm in a client's records and they're having an issue, say, with their husband, and they want to get some information about that. Could you find out for me? Well, I can't go into their husband's Akashic records without their husband's consent. What I can do is call forth their husband. They give me their name, their full name, and I'll call forth him in the Akashic records. So I will call forth his higher self, and he will come forward. Usually he does, and I'll have a chat. And that's for learning. That's for understanding and growth. But just channeling somebody like Princess Diana or Elvis or Prince or whoever, who am I going to channel tonight? And then try and get a whole bunch of people to buy into it. And people do buy into it.
And that's where the trickster comes through. Because
you're feeding that trickster.
Yeah, you're feeding the trickster. And this is your ego, and your ego is saying, oh, I can do this, I can do this, I can do this. The channeling is a spiritual journey. It's not about who I can contact and or am I going to get married tomorrow or anything else like that. You are working on improving who you are as a spirit and taking this journey through channeling, or it's a very personal thing, and it's working on ascending, because how you to go on to the next level of ascension and becoming a better being and a better soul and a better spirit. You get those messages. That's what channeling is about. It's receiving messages from spirit and from divine to help you grow on your path, not to find out if you're going to win $1 million. That's not what it's about. For me, it's a very, very special journey. And I do get messages from spirit. I'm only get simple, easy things that I know. For me, I feel very, very blessed that I'm being shown this and given this gift. And for me, trying not to let your ego in the way, because a lot of these people that say I can channel so and so, or who am I going to channel tonight? That's not what it's about. It's about your journey. It's about becoming a better spiritual being.
I've had experience on my transition or evolution as a spiritual person and as a medium and such, where I would have people, I'd meet somebody, and this is when I used to work in a customer service place, and it was very hectic, and this one lady came up to me, and it kind of had a lull, and she was telling me she lost her husband. I didn't know this person from the hole in the ground. I started getting just information. Her husband wanted me to let her know that he was okay and that he was watching over her. And he just gave me a few little things to allow her for her to understand that was him. And then she would, oh wow, this is great. She would say, thank you very much. She was on her merry way. Same thing when I was in the parking lot at the bank. This one lady, she recognized me from where I used to work a long time ago. And she said, oh, I lost my husband. He died, blah, blah, blah. and I didn't really know her at all. I just recognized her, and again, there he was, and I said, okay, this, and this, and check here, and she went on her merry way. I felt good, but it wasn't planned. It was, so that's how sometimes your loved ones, when they know that someone like me is around, they'll like, okay, I want to see you, I want to talk, please. I remember when I was finishing up my third Akashic certification, I asked Val, my teacher, why do I have such an affiliation with Queen Elizabeth? Why do I feel so attached, so connected? So she said, well, we'll see. We'll go and do a soul talk. And she did communicate with her on a soul level. She wasn't channeling her or anything. She was communicating with her through the Akashic records. And she came forward, her higher self came forward, because there was a connection between her and I in a past life. And another thing is, for the newer people who are on their spiritual journey, souls can live parallel lives. Different, I was one of her nannies when she was very young. But I was not Carolanne, but an aspect of my soul was. And I, so that type of thing. Like I remember, I think you remember, I don't go around broadcasting that I can channel certain angels or things. I don't do that.
No.
In our circle that we have, they'll pop in when there's a message. But I don't go broadcasting that.
Well, I remember the one message when Shamuel came through. I've never laughed so hard in all my life, because Carolanne, Shamuel decided that he would like to speak to us through Carolanne. And he said, my name is Shamuel. And of course, trying to get the words out was quite hilarious. And he was also, he gave us lovely messages about how important it is to proceed on our ascension work, and
to debunk
and to debunk everything. And trust me, debugging is not as easy as what you think it is, but it's a process. And once you get through this process, it works very, very well. But I mean, they all have beautiful senses of humors. Archangel Michael is a very strong, serious archangel, but he also has a great sense of humor. And when we do our circles, we never know what wonderful messages we are going to receive. And this is what this is about. And a lot of the tricksters that are out there will give you false hope. And you have to, this is when we were talking about discernment in our other message. And this is where you have to really sit and listen to what is being given to you. And does this resonate with you? Does it make you feel that, oh yeah, this makes sense? Or do you think, huh? What are you talking about?
And sometimes the message, you may not be ready to hear the full message at this stage in your development, or in your energetically wise or vibrational wise. And you may think, you can file it away and put it back there and let it percolate, and then bring it forward. And if it still doesn't resonate, then let it go. But if something really does not resonate with you, then listen to your inner voice. And another thing with when we have our circles, usually all the information that comes forward, like when do from the Akashic, and then we pull a couple of cards, all the cards will relate to each other, and everybody in the circle, each of the cards that each one of us pull will help the other person as well.
Yeah, it's really, as Carolanne says, it's very freaky deaky.
We call it freaky deaky.
Freaky deaky, because they all relate to each other. And it's like from the messages that we get in from the Akashic record and to the card that Carolanne gives us, like, we pull out one or two cards, it all gels together. And this group that we are with, like we all get something out of each other's cards. And it's amazing how lucky we are that we receive such beautiful gifts. And this is why it's so important to really discern and to think about stuff that you're being told when
And
you
feel.
go over it. And yeah, and let yourself feel. Like, I mean, if you feel like sitting there and you're going, oh dear Lord, I don't like this at all, then you state it to the person that is telling you this. Say, no, that's not right. That's not what I feel is right. Don't be afraid to talk to the person that you are working with. And if they are a good spiritual person and a good person to help you on your journey, then they're going to say, well, let's just take a closer look and let's take a step back, and maybe there's something else that I'm missing, and I'll just listen to what I'm being told and see if maybe Spirit has another message that will make all of this flow. So it's very, very important that when you are receiving messages from a, for lack of better words, a spiritualist, I guess, or medium, don't be afraid to talk to them and say, oh, this really isn't making any sense. Can you get different information for me?
For me, when I get information, I see the whole. I see the whole picture. I see what Spirit is trying to impart, but it's bringing it forward through and out in a coherent way for the client to understand. That's my difficulty at times, and I keep saying, well, I wish I can say it this way, but I wish I can bring it forward the way I'm seeing it. But sometimes it's very hard because I have all this. It's like coming into a funnel, and it's trying to get down into my brain, through all of my stuff, and out. And so that's why asking questions. But you have, like in my case, if you're asking questions while I'm trying to give you the answer, that kind of screws me up, because it's like it just. But after there's a pause, ask your question. And then hopefully then the information will be able to be more clear or the answer will come clear.
So just to wrap up, basically due diligence, which goes back to our first session.
Yes.
Make sure you know who you are working with and their abilities and their qualifications.
Mm-hmm.
Because you do not want to get involved with a fraudster or a trickster or somebody who's pretending to be something that they're not.
On a side note, that could be part of someone's journey, though. Someone's lesson is to fall into that gray area. So if that happens, there is a lesson there for you. But due diligence is very important, and listening to your inner wisdom, because you need to work on standing in your own power, your own authentic self. Even when you're working with someone who is your teacher or your guide, they are your teacher, they are your guide, but they are not the end-all be-all. They're not the great kahuna or anything like that. They are human. And also you have masters and teachers on the other side. But on the physical side, you have teachers. They have their own stuff that they're working through, they're dealing with. Some people get caught up in their egos, insecurities. It's standing in your own power. If you don't need your teacher anymore, in a sense, like they've gotten you to where you need to be to start walking on your own, that's when the wonderful thing would be is to not end the relationship, but have that relationship change and evolve into a more equal partnership where, the teacher can learn from the student. Because I know the masters learn from us. They continue to learn, and they're continuing to evolve. Even the archangels, our spiritual guides, our celestial team learn from us as well. That's why they're there. They're learning. they're along for the ride with us. So to be open and loving as possible.
Okay. So once again, for our viewers, can you please tell them how they can get in touch with you?
spiritualgalsplace.weebly.com, and I'm on Facebook at Akashic Readings, Spiritual Gal. Or you type Carolanne Nadeau, Carolanne M. Nadeau, you should see that. Nora and I also have an Ascension
Website.
Facebook page.
Yeah, it's Ascension Healing Arts.
That's on Facebook, and
That's
we're
on Facebook.
we're also part of Kevin and Morris and I have a page called Ascension Enlightenment, which started a couple weeks ago, and
Yeah. I'm Ascensions Reiki by Nora .weebly.com, and I'm also on Facebook at Ascensions Reiki by Nora on Facebook. And if you type in Nora Reynolds, you should be able to find my Reiki there.
Okay. Once again, thank you very much, ladies, and thank you to our viewers.
namaste.
Namaste.